Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and I don't know how long this video will be, but of course, as you know by now, I'm reviewing the Howling films. And the first Howling, I wasn't the biggest fan of. I didn't hate it, it's okay, but I didn't really care for any of the characters at the end of the day, except Ditch Smith. D. Wallace was okay, but I think her character could have been written better. I wish it stayed in the city with Robert Picardo as his killer by day, werewolf by night, and have Dee Wallace as a newscaster go up with a cop like Tommy Lee Jones or Sam Elliott or some other. I just good effects. Dick Miller was good. I like that one piece of music from Pino Donaggio. But overall, the original Halloween wasn't. I thought it was okay at best. We get to this film, Howling II, Your Sister is a Werewolf, which I think in one country is called Stirba, Werewolf Bitch, directed by Philippe Mora, who did, I guess, the third one as well. You got Christopher Lee, you got Reb Brown, you got Sybil Danning. And those three are part of the reasons why I actually had fun with this movie. And I actually kind of liked this movie. And in fact, dare I say, I actually liked this more than the first one. I know, I know. I can't take you seriously. Then don't take me seriously. Because, you know what? If you're going to be bad, be entertaining. And that's what this is. It's bad, but it's entertaining. And I'm not even the guy that usually does the so bad it's good, so bad it's entertaining. I love Maximum Overdrive sincerely. Some people like it for so bad, so good. I love that film sincerely. There's a lot of movies I love sincerely. I love Cobra and Over the Top sincerely. I love Stephen King's Graveyard Shift and all 100 movies sincerely. This one, I can't say sincerely, but at the same time, it was fun. And I'm like, okay, do I want either a technically well-made movie, but it's pretty dull, or a film that's not really that well made, but it's entertaining? To me, the first film is technically well made, but rather dull. This one, it's got a shitload of problems, but it's entertaining, and it made me smile, and I had fun. And yeah, I liked it more than the first one for that. I didn't grow up with the Howling, so I don't have that thing of, growing up with it. I can count on one hand how many times I saw the first one. That's including doing the review before this for that film. This one, Christopher Lee, may he rest in peace. I enjoy him as an actor. He's good. He, he did, for what he had to work with, he did fine. Reb Brown is back in town. If you don't know who Reb Brown is, look up films like Strike Commando or Robo War and watch him. He's entertaining to watch for me. I liked Reb Brown. There's a film he made that is sincerely good. It's called Uncommon Valor with Gene Hackman, Fred Ward, Tim Thomerson, Patrick Swayze, Randall Tetz-Cobb. It's a fantastic action, drama, war film going back to get POWs, made before Rambo 2 and Missing in Action, all those movies. Directed by Ted Kotcheff, I think after he did First Blood. Sincerely good movie. Emotional, heartfelt, damn good film. And Red Brown's really good in it. And it feels like Strike Commando, he's just fun. Not an Academy Award worthy actor, but he's just fun. Who definitely likes to yell and then shoot. Ah! 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 I'm a big fan of Red Brown. And him being in this movie is the reason why I enjoyed it. Him shooting werewolves in the face Sybil Danning showing tits a lot. Big tits. How the fucking movie ends with a music video and you see like a repeat of her showing her tits like 22 fucking times throughout that little music video at the end of the film. Red Brown yelling and shooting. People say, well, you're easy to please. Hey, if you have Red Brown yelling and shooting, world needs more of that. Put him in Jaws 4. If Red Brown is yelling and shooting at the shark, at the shark in Jaws 4, that would have made the ending pretty damn good for Jaws 4. Just Red Brown with a shotgun. Red Brown and Alien Resurrection. Just Red Brown shooting aliens. Red Brown instead of Adrian Brody in Predators. That would have been a masterpiece then. I mean, for the Red Brown and Batman v Superman. Red Brown versus Doomsday. Doomsday's going down. Just put him in. Every movie I think is shitty. Put Red Brown in it, yelling and shooting, and at least give me a smile. Every bad movie, you need Red Brown yelling and shooting, and then you can bump it up a bit. And I mean, you kind of know what this movie's going at the beginning of the film was Christopher Lee reading from a book. For some reason, he's in the stars. Like, for some reason, he's at a star field while he's reading a book. And then you have the song from, what's this band? Babel? And it's like, but do I don't know the fucking lyrics, but do whatever the fuck the lyrics are. I will admit the song grew on me as the film went on. I liked the instrumental version better, but the song grew on me. And thankfully, because you hear that song a fucking lot in this movie. Oh, the Howling. Where the hell the lyrics are? I had fun with the song. And it takes place after the first one, where it's the funeral of Dee Wallace's character, and her brother is Red Brown. God, Red Brown in the first movie? I mean, I would love that. Instead of Dennis Dudian, have Red Brown. If it was Red Brown instead of Dennis Dudian, and anytime he shot, he yelled, ah! Like when he's Robert Picardo, and Robert Picardo's like, oh yeah, whatever, shoot me. And then Red Brown's like, ah! Shoots Robert Picardo in the face. I probably would have given that movie more of a thumbs up than I did. I didn't hate the first film, but I did. Let me point that out. But need more Red Brown yelling and shooting. But her brother's Red Brown, and Christopher Lee tells him, your sister's a werewolf. And Red Brown's reaction is, bullshit. Just the perfect reaction. Bullshit. Just love his reaction. And yeah, Christopher Lee at this party where this band's playing, and someone actually gives him these white sunglasses, kind of like what you see punkers wear. These fucking white sunglasses. And this woman brings these guys back for sex at this warehouse, this building, and they get killed off. One guy gets his hand torn off, and there's like a little bit POV. One goes on, not the roof, but kind of outside and gets pushed off, dies from the landing. And that's another thing. This film has some fun gore. Later on, the queen of the werewolves, I guess, Sybil Danning, she can elicit a certain noise or magic. And if you don't have these special earplugs, these holy earplugs, blessed earplugs, your eyes will explode out of your head. And that's what happens to this little person. A little person's eyes explode out of his head. I'm like, this is great. I'm liking this. This is like after his fucking nose bleeding and stuff. But before we get to that, after those guys at the warehouse have killed Red Brown and this lady, and I will admit, the lady, Annie McEnroe, she sucked. Nothing fun about her, nothing interesting. She was dead weight. She was just there to hop along, have sex with Red Brown in one scene, get captured to be saved at the end. That's all she was there for. She sucked on the acting front. She sucked on the character front. She was shitty. She didn't need to be there. It could have just been Christopher Lee and Red Brown together. You didn't need Anne McEnroe. Didn't need her at all. So she is a weak point of the film for me. She was just boring and annoying. Boring and annoying. But Red Brown and that lady go to see Christopher Lee, and Christopher Lee explains some interesting rules. For example, the D. Wallace character, your Red Brown's sister, she was killed, but the autopsy removed silver bullets, and apparently, I guess if you remove silver bullets, like during the autopsy, she'll come back to life. Which I thought was interesting. Okay. And then more rules that sound more like vampires than werewolves. For example, Christopher Lee has the stake, but not silver. Silver, no. These werewolves, silver won't do it. It has to be titanium. Seems kind of arbitrary to change that. Like why? Like why are you changing from silver to titanium? But okay, has to be titanium. All right, and you stab it in the heart, or you can shoot them in the face with titanium. I'm like stabbing in the heart, like staking them. I mean, is that kind of like vampires? I don't know if that was done because Christopher Lee played Dracula. Maybe that was. Maybe they changed it for that. Sort of trying to be an ode to Hammer films. I don't know. Maybe. But I'm like, okay, this is different. But and it talks about how there's this sort of queen of the werewolves, Stirba, played by Sybil Danning, and the woman takes the bullets, and Red Brown doesn't believe it. He's like, bullshit. And later on, realizes that Christopher Lee's going to go to the cemetery to stake his dead sister. And before that, I should say that Christopher Lee shows him a videotape that's pretty much the ending of the first movie, but because they could not get D. Wallace, and they couldn't get the footage, they had to redo it. So the makeup's completely different. And it's like, well, still looks shitty, but I actually think it looked better than the last one. It still looks pretty cheap with like just some fuzz on a woman's face, but I still prefer that over the ending of the first movie, where it literally looks like a shitty version of Tim Allen's The Shaggy Dog. Only if you dumped it in shit. Brown fucking paint thinner, whatever the fuck it is. Brown spray paint. It didn't just like a literally shitty version of Tim Allen's Shaggy Dog. So even though it looks like shit in this, it looked worse than the first one, in my opinion. I'm just talking about that ending bit with D. Wallace. Not the rest of the werewolves. I wish the rest of the werewolves looked like the. I wish those werewolves in the first film with like the big transformation, they were in this. I wish, because these werewolves are much cheaper looking, which is too bad. I wish those werewolves in the first Howling was in this. Like Red Brown taking on those kind of werewolves. This would have brought this up to like 11 or something. But yeah, Red Brown then realizes that Christopher Lee is going to stake his dead sister, and he's like, I'm going to kill that son of a bitch. And gets there, and there's werewolves, and he's yelling, and he's killing. Just me describing it doesn't do it justice, but it gives me joy, easy joy. It really does. And again, they can't get Dee Wallace back, so they have another actress playing the sister. She rises up from the coffin as if it was a vampire, and Red Brown shoots her, so now she can rest in peace because she does have, I guess, now titanium bullets in her. Christopher Lee stabs her with a titanium stake, and Red Brown shooting and yelling, ah, ah. and pretty much finds out they gotta go to Transylvania. Again, like, is this a? It's like they took a vampire script and just changed it a couple things for werewolves. But I mean, when they get there, there's some interesting little shots, like a little man-made skeleton, weird thing ringing the bell and stuff, and then like Sybil Danning has an old she at this point her character's an old lady. And they put this woman on an altar, and like this green life force enters her, and she howls, and now she's young again. And by this point, the poor woman's face is melted, and then the she watches two having sex, get it on, and she tears her shirt off to reveal her tits. Like, okay, I could get behind this movie. In the meanwhile, Red Brown and them are at the festival carnival around there, and they're watching this weird werewolf puppet show. I'm like, okay. Then it slows down a little bit after that because it's just them hanging around this festival, and you have stuff like Red Brown, the girl having sex. No tits or anything in that shot, but then it picks up when Red Brown and this little person who knows Christopher Lee try to find the castle, and they think they might find it. And Red Brown tells the guy, "Rock and roll, I'll cover you." I love that. "Rock and roll, I'll cover you." And the little guy throws a knife and kills a guard. And that's when the guy then escape, and the little guy loses his blessed earplugs, and the magic of Sybil Danning, I don't know, maybe the magic's in her tits, I don't know, comes out and makes the guy's nose bleed. Well, hell, if you see Sybil Danning's tits, my nose would bleed as well. I mean, if I see this bear, hell, my nose will bleed, and my eyes will burst as well. That would have been funnier if Sybil Danning just did this, and then the guy's nose bled and eyes burst. But no, it's because of this noise she's making. Makes the guy's eyes explode. I'm like, okay, that's some fun gore. Um, and by this point, the fucking useless lady that's with them, Anne McEnroe, gets kidnapped to be the damsel in distress at the end. I guess she served her purpose there. That's all she was there for. But Red Brown gets back to Christopher Lee, and Christopher Lee's being attacked. Because by this point, that little guy, whose eyes exploded out of his socket, bloody gore, he's now turned evil by magic and is attacking Christopher Lee. And Red Brown has to take him and push him out the window and falls and gets impaled. So poor little guy gets his eyes blown out and then gets fucking impaled by Red Brown. And then while the fucking werewolves are having an orgy, Christopher Lee, Red Brown, and a few others gear up and are walking towards the castle. And Sybil Danning points, go get the good guys. It pretty much was a good chunk of Red Brown and Christopher Lee killing werewolves. I'm down for that. Red Brown, Christopher Lee killing werewolves. Red Brown yelling and shooting werewolves, and sometimes blood like pieces of a head fly out. Or this one guy with an axe is hitting the werewolf. You see up close axe cuts to the werewolf and blood gushing out. Yeah, I wish they were the werewolves from the first movie put into this film. But hell, this is still pretty fun. And at the end, Red Brown's like, "I told you we get those fuzzballs." Red Brown I like him. He's got a good presence, that I just appreciate and I enjoy. He's a guy who's fun to watch for me. And they get in the castle, like one priest. There's like this weird bat thing that Sybil Danning has, and the fucking bat comes and gets in the guy's throat, and fucking. Well, a friend of mine, Mike OCP, said it best. This bat thing pretty much skull fucks the priest's throat to death. Stoll fucks the throat to death, puts a thing in his throat, and then like the guy like a fake dead body. Like you can tell it's not the actor. They just put made a fake body when he's sitting there and his eyes roll up and like blood dripping down the mouth. And then later on in the scene, like a bat like comes out of the guy's mouth. So I'm like, did he was this like a xenomorph type of thing? Did he inject an egg in there and then another one came out, or did it hide in there like without us knowing? I'm like, that okay, that's fun. And pretty much Red Brown saves the girl and kicks some werewolf ass. Shoots one werewolf that blows out the back of the werewolf's head. There's a female werewolf that he stabs with the titanium stake. And then Christopher Lee, which I will admit, the ending, this is it's anticlimactic where Christopher Lee stabs her pretty easily, but then I guess he got kind of stabbed, or now they're both in flames. So I'm like, I guess Christopher Lee kind of won, even though they're both dead. I guess it's not really much of a battle or anything. And then the ending is kind of weird because it really feels like they ran out of money. It really does feel like they ran out of money because after those two burn up, Red Brown gets the girl, points a gun at a guy's nose at the festival, and goes, Which way is the fastest to the airport? Thank you." And just runs off. And then they're back home, and I guess it's Halloween because they did a trick or treater. It's a kid with a wolf face, and I still don't know if that was supposed to be a trick or treater or it was an actual werewolf. Because then they go to a neighbor, and then the neighbor got, "Oh, I don't have a kid." But then the guy also acts weird as well. So I'm like, is he a werewolf too? Or, "Oh yeah, we'll talk to you later." And then Red Brown goes, "Much later," and they walk off. And then the movie ends with this music video of what we've seen with that song and da 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 da. I swear to God, if you count how many times they show her ripping her shirt off to reveal her tits, which I'm not complaining, but it's like over 20 times in like a span of 2 to 3 minutes of this song. They're like 20 something. Like, literally, it's like, shh, and then a cut of a guy looking over, shh, then another scene of a guy looking over, shh, and another guy. See, I'm like, this has to be on purpose. This has to be. These people did not give a fuck. They were taking the piss out of themselves. It has to be. I would actually be curious enough to get the Blu-ray one day. Not anytime soon, because I gotta save money for stuff, but I would like to get the Blu-ray of this from Screen Factory one day. I really would be curious to check it out. To check out the features. I know there's like a commentary, an interview with Red Brown. I really want to check out the Blu-ray of this. One day I would love to get that. But, I mean, yeah, the acting from a lot of people are not great, especially I did not like Anne McEnroe. The effects of the werewolves are definitely low budget and definitely a decline from the first one. The It's pretty campy. I think that's a good word to use for this, campy. It is a technically bad film, but fuck, man, I had fun watching this. Red Brown yelling and shooting, Christopher Lee doing his thing, a song that, as it went through the film, it was catchy. It went at a good pace. It was, I mean, it says an hour and 31 minutes, but honestly, once you put that like music video at the end, it's under 90 minutes, so it went by at a good pace. In the middle, it slowed down a bit, got a little bit boring in the middle, but man, there's so much weird, campy, and Christopher Lee and Red Brown and Christopher Lee, those guys really made me enjoy this film a lot. And again, some exploitation elements, fucking tits. Oh, of course, there's Sybil Danning and two werewolves get it on, where they're in the middle, kind of menage a trois or menage a twat, menage a twat with three werewolves. And really, all they're doing is kind of doing this, like kind of touching each other. But I'm like, that's weird. Yeah, werewolf menage a twat. So, I mean, it's a very I can at this time cult following. I can understand why. It's it's a pretty fun movie. Sadly, I got more laughs out of this one, which is probably not all intentional, than the first one, which I think some of the humor was intentional. Unless it was Dick Miller, he was great in the first one, but I just if I had more fun. I had more fun with this. Sue me. But yeah, and anyway, I don't know what else to say, but thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you later. Bye bye.